Okay, 2 chats on the, and so from Kay, hiya Kay, and Sonia, hiya Sonia, and Mark, me too. Okay, so we just have to, well, we don't have to wait for anyone really, but we'll just, I'm sure Dr. Brennan will be on in a few minutes. So, okay, so just a few things while we're waiting for the other doctors to come on, just a few little things. We have our detox starting on the 23rd of September. So the closing date for that is getting really short. So if you're thinking of doing it, you'd have to book in the next day or two, because obviously we have to get the pack out to you, especially if you're in UK, because there's postal delays in the UK at the moment. So I've sent out lots of emails about this, so I'm sure you've all seen them, and you have to watch the video from last year. And then if you want to do it, well, at this stage, you can't book it on the website because it's kind of closed. So if you want to do it, you email me, noel@ayurveda.ie. I'll send you a payment link and we'll get the detox pack to you. You can start anytime from the 23rd of September to the 1st of October, anytime within that time frame. And then we'll obviously send you all the items you need and offer you all the support you need during the detox program. And then the other thing we have coming up is, I just want to take a look here at just make sure I get the dates right. The other thing we have coming up is our new course, which starts on the 11th of September. Or the 11th of October, I beg your pardon. So that's a 12-week, that's the first 100-hour course called Ayurveda for Self-Knowledge, So that's the first 100-hour course, and it consists of 2 weekends, 2 practical weekends, and it consists of 12 lectures done online. And then it consists of homework as well. So, and it's the first of our 3 courses that we're doing that lead to a 500-hour Ayurvedic lifestyle coach certification, And the great news about the Ayurvedic lifestyle certification is we've now got insurance cover for it from 2 different insurance operators. One in the UK, I think they're called Balance, and they'll actually insure practitioners to practice as lifestyle coaches. And then there's one in Ireland, Brian Mullins, as well. But anyway, you've probably got lots of information about that as well, where we've set a maximum limit on that because it's our first course. So we're really not going to take much more than 100 people on it. And we have about 75 booked in so far, and we haven't really promoted it either, but we'll be doing a promotion on that in the next few weeks, because as I say, it's starting on the 11th of October. So probably in another week or two, we'll have a special night on that course so people can know what to expect. It's a completely standalone course. You don't have to go on to want to be a lifestyle practitioner or anything like that. It's a completely standalone course. But as I say, it's the first part of that new course, So Dr. Brennan is there. Hi, Don.
Hi, Noel. Hi, everybody.
How are you doing?
Hello, Don. Good evening.
Hi, Raj.
Hello, good to see you.
Good to see you. Happy birthday for tomorrow.
Oh, Dr.
I was saying quiet. Thank you.
I think it's the Indian tradition when it's your birthday that you buy presents for everybody else. Is that the way it works?
Yeah, it's only 82. There's only 82 of us on this call.
Yeah. So anyway, yeah, Dr. Rajvinder has a big birthday tomorrow, so you can wish her a happy birthday there in the chat if you want, I just have a question here from a lady who just sent me in a question for her daughter. Her daughter lives in Los Angeles, and I feel that this lady probably needs a consultation, but I'll read the question out anyway, and then maybe if there's just anything that just comes to mind. But this is a pretty, it's a pretty heavy duty thing really, in a way. I mean, as I say, it probably needs a consultation, but it just says, please explain, I have IC systems, which is intestinal cystitis systems, which really flare up, and I want to urinate often and have a swollen tummy and constant discomfort. All signs lead to the possibility of intestinal cystitis. I have stopped all alcohol, coffee, sugar, and the pain is always 1 or 2 out of 10, but it can get to 9 out of 10. And I cannot sit still. I am taking marshmallow 4 times a day, also, I presume it's colloidal silver and probiotics, as well as vitamin D. It can be so unbearable and relentless, depressing. Please advise. And then she says, I used to smoke on and off, okay, for several years, but stopped 1.5 years ago forever. I feel swelling and discomfort in the bladder pelvic area. Okay, so that's from a mother, a question that our daughter sent in. I don't know if anybody has anything that they might suggest on that, but this, as I say, this girl lives in Los Angeles.
You're
I
right
think
there.
it's a very interesting one, because I think it's immediately brings to mind Vata, and it would be very interesting to go into the combination of factors that would have contributed perhaps over years. I mean, I'd be interested to know, has there been a lot of tension, or has there been a lot of stress or change or challenge in life, issues which could provoke Vata, because the seat of Vata, as we know, is in the pelvic area. And pain is an indication of Vata, movement is an indication of Vata. He's doing an awful lot of movements from that area with that interstitial cystitis, as Rajvinder calls it, said, you know, that's the proper pronunciation.
Yeah.
So, so I would definitely want her to have a deeper understanding of Ayurveda, so she could understand the combination of factors that may have contributed. So maybe then something that you could do in terms of the causes, but definitely she would want a whole regime of settling Vata, and over a couple of months, likely settled. The herbal which we could think of immediately, but she's in America, she'd have to find the number of it, is the Jenny track, which is contains a herb which is for the waterworks, and that's MA2, I think, isn't it?
MA2, yeah.
Yeah, I'll type
So,
that.
Raj, you'll have more suggestions. Are there other Vajas as well, Noel? I only see
Dr.
Raj.
Chaitali is there. I don't think Dr. Nahid is on. But Dr. Chaitali.
Who?
I actually saw a lady. Yeah, sorry.
Great.
Can I talk? Yeah.
You saw it.
Yeah. I saw a lady yesterday actually, and it is a very
All
difficult
right, you-
situation, and I'm sure she's attending her urologist, because they can do a little procedure with dilate the bladder a bit if it's getting infected, or you need to know the scan if there are ulcers already, or it's just the bladder lining is irritated. So as Dr. Brennan said, is a Vata and Pitta condition. Because Vata can blow everything. So if Vata is firing up the Pitta, and that's when she's having a lot of pain and swelling and everything. So yes, a deep understanding of Vata and Pitta, and the food is very, very important, because there are certain food.
Rajvinder, switch off your camera because your sound is breaking up on us.
Is it?
No, Don, it's your sound actually that's breaking up. Rajvinder's sound is fine. You have some
Right,
difficulty
okay.
there. Sorry.
Oh, thanks.
Okay, so
Sorry.
it is, no problem, no problem. It is Vata Pitta, yeah. So there are definitely certain foods that they are the triggers. So you can work with your urologist and Ayurveda doctor, and you can have very good results. You can manage it very well. The other thing is pelvic floor exercises are very good, but you have to do under either your physiotherapist or under a very good teacher who do the pelvic floor exercises. That's the way the girl can train her bladder. So this is a kind of a training where they have to help to retain the urine and help the bladder muscles to go stronger. I don't know the age or history, so definitely worth considering a consultation. Or there are herbs very good. You're taking marshmallow. She can start marshmallow, licorice, fennel, all the cooling herbs, and there's citrus, like a pitta food. Definitely no too big pitta food, especially anything that is sour. So yeah, there's a lot of help out there, actually, a lot of information on NHS website. Yeah, so she can have a look.
Yeah, and the other thing she should definitely do then is do the free online course on Ayurveda. She should do the 7 lessons, because then she'll have a deeper understanding of what Ayurveda is. And then definitely the Vata lesson, she should pay particular attention to it, and you recognize what type of things are going to put Vata out of balance, because Dr. Brennan is suggesting there that possibly there are things going on, you know, and have been going on for a long time that have caused this condition to accelerate and become very severe, you know. So and they tend to be vata issues. So once she gets an understanding of vata, she can then change her lifestyle and also her foods, and that can make a big impression on it. But I mean, what we seem to be saying here is that it's definitely treatable through a mix of Ayurveda and Western medicine as well. It's definitely treatable for her, So that should give her hope that she can move forward with something positive,
Yeah, and I would like to include highlight one point. So she can include coriander and coconut juice or coconut water in her diet until she gets consultation with the urologist. So that will help to cool down the pitta
Okay.
as well. Yeah.
Okay, so that's coconut water and coriander, which will be very cooling. And the other thing she can do is, she can have a consultation with one of the, she can try find the local Vaidya in Los Angeles. I'm sure there's loads of them, but she could also have a Zoom consultation with one of the doctors here. But I think she should start on that course first, the Ayurveda course, so she knows, she knows what to expect from a consultation. And she can just do those 7 lessons in a couple of days. And get a really good grip on the thing. And then she could do a Zoom consultation with a doctor, or she could find the local Vaidya in LA, Okay, so YP Gupta says, I am diabetic. My diabetes is under control with HbA1c of 45. My creatine is 68. However, however, recent urine values, for some reason I can't.
My messages are jumping as well.
Yeah, hang on a second, I'll get rid of that. Sorry, I can't see the full chat for some reason.
Do you want any of us to read it?
My creatine 68. However, recent urine values show urine albumin creatine ratio is 8:1 against normal of max. It's after disappearing of 2.9. Please advise cause and I presume remedy. Do you see that one, Rajvinder?
Yes. Do you want me to take that?
Yeah, anybody?
Chaitrali, you want to take that?
Okay, I'll take that. Yeah. So the first thing is like the HbA1c is 45. So how long have you been diabetic, and are you on the diabetic medications, and are you strongly following the diet as well, because you are having sugar and coffee and tea every day, so this is not going to help. That is one thing. Again, your age also matters. What is your age? And then only we can talk. We have a diabetic webinar, so you can go through that diabetic webinar, and there are a few herbs recommended, your home remedies recommended, so you can go through that. Yeah. Anything to add into?
About that, we do have a diabetic webinar. We have a whole webinar on diabetes that you can get on the website. Anybody else have anything they want to say there?
She's having albumin. I think she needs to reduce her protein intakes, because that's affecting the kidneys now, because all the albumin and creatinine is going towards the kidney. So it's more also Dr. Chaitrali's webinar, and also looking into kidney. You're asking the cause, so I guess you need to kind of look into how much protein you're taking, or you might be taking considering vitamin K rich food, and then remedy, again, can't say there is a quick remedy unless we have all the details and everything. But as Dr. Brennan suggested, the remedy for the other person, the Jenny track, that's in general very good for anything to do with the kidneys and urinary system. So that's the one remedy you can start. And we have glucostat as well, which is all the wonderful bitter herbs that can combine for your HbA145, which is quite high at the moment as well. So yeah, so it's really kapha vata condition. So you need to have a very deep understanding of kapha dosha. You will look into your body type and start working on that first. Forget about everything else. Just balance your dosha.
Okay, and again, if you haven't done that course, then do the course, because then there's a specific lesson on kapha, a whole lesson dedicated to that. So that will give you an idea of what kapha is, So
my only addition to that, Noel, would really be that diabetes, type 2 diabetes, which is what we're dealing with here. It generally is considered now to be a curable condition. It used to be considered totally incurable, but it wasn't a surprise to us because we had seen diabetics return to normal with the Ayurvedic regime and dietary advice, etc. So yes, there's the beginnings of an indication of kidney damage for this lady. It's just starting. It's a very good time to get in. And so I would consider that she should seriously take the Ayurveda into account now and use it so that she controls her diabetes, which is the reason her kidneys are starting to be damaged. Because if her kidneys are starting to be damaged, there could be damage starting to happen elsewhere. So she should really take it seriously and do everything that you've all been saying.
Okay. So the next question is,
but Dr. Brennan, this is Yagya Gupta who had raised this question. My diabetes is perfectly under control constantly because it's H1 BSE is about 45. So, and the creatine is also okay, but the albumin is really more because normally it should be maximum ratio should be about 2.9 and it is 8.1. So it means the kidney is not really processing all the protein.
Yeah, but I think the first suspicion would be that somehow or another the diabetes has, created the problem in the kidneys. Perhaps it's a very chronic situation over many years that is just beginning to show up because of the passing years. I still think the
Dr. Brennan, just maybe the medication he's on, what are you, metformin or what are you taking?
Yeah, it's metformin basically.
Are you taking it for a long time?
Yeah, of course, yeah.
Maybe it's worth considering your GP and change your medication because now there is it's on the top of my head, new drug is out and that's much better than metformin actually. Might be a side effect of metformin if you're taking for a long time.
Yeah, and then I also take some medicine for blood pressure. So maybe that's also.
Yeah, if your blood pressure, yeah, exactly. It's all affecting your kidney now and the protein you're not able to process. So you definitely have to reduce the protein as a first strategy.
What's the blood pressure medicine then?
Blood pressure medicines at the moment is amlodipine. Yeah.
Amlodipine.
Yeah.
And that's taking for how many years now? Or how long? Like?
No, in fact, it's about 5 years amlodipine.
And diabetic medication?
Diabetic is about 20 years.
20 years, yeah. Oh, yes, there is a.
But in fact, in Ayurveda, is there any sort of medicines for helping with the kidney? Because it looks like that this problem has started with the kidney and probably it could really go bad from worse to worse, basically.
Yeah, first. Maybe you connect with one of the doctor, Mr. Gupta, so we can go through in detail what you're eating and what your lifestyle and everything, because that's when you can give you a proper structure. There are herbs, definitely Punarnava, Gokshura, there are wonderful herbs that you can put you on. So, but I would say in this call, it will be very difficult to go through your whole details.
And I think Rajvinder's suggestion of checking with your doctor, because the amlodipine, specifically, you could ask about that.
Okay. How I can make an appointment, because I'm based in actually London. So
that's no problem. Just go to our website, ayurveda.ie, and all the doctor's contact details are on the homepage of ayurveda.ie. So you can just make an appointment with whatever doctor you want. So just ayurveda.ie. And
then basically I can have that discussions on WhatsApp or
Zoom. Yeah.
Zoom call. Zoom.
Yeah.
Okay.
You're on now. Yeah.
Like you're,
Okay.
exactly.
Thank you.
No problem. Thank you. Thank you. You surprised me there. I didn't know people were able, normally people can't unmute themselves. So you gave me a bit of a shock when you came on, but anyway, that's okay. So does Ayurveda recognize Candida overgrowth?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Who you want to take the question on?
Well,
Sure, you take-
what I
Don,
would
yeah, you take it down.
Yeah,
Well,
Brian.
what I would say is that the candida overgrowth is indicating there is need for digestive healing, because the only reason the candida can get in is because the digestion is not strong enough. The digestion should be strong enough to maintain its own integrity. It's only when we weaken it through the wrong regimes of eating and eating the wrong foods and disturbing it at the time that the weakened cell flora allow the candida to take off. It's probably a situation of ama or kapha in the gut, and there would need to be a cleansing of ama, a clearing of the gut with, you know, some spices, particularly hot spices, to support the digestion. And we would look at the symptoms as well and treat it from the point of view of the doshes, vata, pitta, and kapha. And so there's a lot about taking care of digestion again in the webinars, and that knowledge of the bloating, distension, you know, the vata issues coming up, and the appropriate foods then according to the dosha.
Okay.
And
Don,
then there's a lot of digestive preparation.
yeah, Don, if you could get a microphone or something, your sound is not great, and I don't know if you have a separate. You used to have a separate microphone, didn't you? A little microphone you used to plug in.
I'll go and have a look.
Yeah, if you can, because it's just not coming through very clearly. So I'll wait till you come back before I ask you a question or
No,
something.
one, I'd be looking for it.
Yeah, okay. So Raj, the next one is for you, okay? It's Suzanne. She says, I eat mainly fruit and vegetables, no grain. Will the cleanse, I presume she's talking about the detox, be suitable for me? Could I eat khichdi without the rice, or would it not give the same effect? Well, it wouldn't be khichdi if there wasn't rice in it. And then khichdi is rice and dal is another grain. So I presume if you're not eating any grains, you wouldn't be eating.
No, dal is not a grain. Dal is a lentil, a pulse.
Right.
If you're
okay.
eating lentils, Suzanne, it's fine. You can do without grains. Really, absolutely no problem. It's you just want to eat light, and if you're eating vegetables, you are perfectly okay. And you just avoid the khichdi. Just eat the dal, and you add few vegetables into the dal, and that kind of a stew, lentil stew, you can eat. There are a few more recipes in your booklets. You can choose. You can choose other recipes. You just skip the grain one. I think only 2 grains are quinoa and rice on the detox, so it's okay if you're not gonna eat them. You're fine because you're well used to it, so that's fine. Just type in your age in the chat box. That's all. I want to just make sure.
And you can send that privately to Dr. Rajvinder if you want, if you
yeah.
choose to do so. For any new people here, I forgot to say that this is how we communicate, through the chat box. So if you're new to Zoom and you're new to this, if you bring your mouse to the bottom of the screen, you'll see a little chat box, and you just click on that, and you can follow the questions yourself, but you can also type in your own question as well. So Dr. Chaitali, this next one is for you. Can you recommend a topical application for sensitive sore vaginal tissue caused by post-menopause? I'm predominantly Vata. I'm currently using Yes Gel, organic aloe-based, which helps but does not heal the tissue. I'm not taking HRT, and I'm healthy and medicine-free. Coconut oil massage irritates. Please advise. Thank you.
Okay. So typically this is postmenopausal, so there is a lot of vata aggravation, and again there is bit of pitta as well. So I would suggest go, instead of going with coconut oil, go with ghee, and medicated shatavari ghee will give good results. Again, you can even do a vaginal wash with like licorice powder. So you have to take around 500 ml of water, put half teaspoon of licorice powder into that, and just boil it for 10 to 15 minutes. And once it cools down, you need to like strain it or sieve it properly, so that there should not be even a little powdery element in that. And that water, you can use it for vaginal wash. And after that wash, you can apply, initially you can start with cow's ghee, and later, even, do we have shatavari ghee in our?
No,
don't
but
have
you might get it. You might be able to get it on Amazon or something like
Yeah,
that. I mean, we
Amazon or
have ghee and
something.
we have shatavari, so but we don't
Yeah.
have them combined, you know. But
Mhm.
I'd say it's
Yeah,
possible to get it, you know.
Yeah, so making shatavari ghee is a long process, so it's
Okay.
better if you get it
You can buy it,
on
yeah.
Amazon or something like that. So that will help.
We could mix Chaitali in the licorice powder, I guess. That will be
Yeah,
the
that.
estrogenic effect, because Chaitali will be natural progesterone.
Mhm. Yeah. So along with licorice, even shatavari powder can be mixed together, like half
Okay.
of teaspoon of each, and in 500 ml of water, boil it well for 15 to 20 minutes, and then strain it. And once it is, once the water becomes normal temperature, then you can use it for vaginal wash.
Okay, so
And
lots of advice there. Thank you for that.
A-Vogel herbal brand, they do V-gel. Worth checking that, because Vogel is a herbal brand, Western herbs, so might be suitable. Or Himalayan Ayurveda brand also do V-gel, so I might check that as well. You said the aloe vera suits you, so a natural aloe vera gel is okay if coconut irritates.
Okay, okay. So, Rajvinder, for you, what causes wet cough whilst eating that creates a choking sensation in elderly people, and can anything be done to stop this?
First thing, Renu, I'll be interested if there is any silent production of acid. Might be acid reflux happening that is causing the irritation in the esophagus lining, and it's as a reflex action, it is producing the wet mucus, and that kind of mucus could lead to choking. So, something natural like a Ayurveda, a product herbal acid balance, will be worth taking. That help to. Sometimes we can't see feel the acid coming as a heartburn or a reflux, but it is there, and that is causing the irritation into the mucous membranes of a stomach and esophagus and the windpipe. So that's the only thing. Or the second thing could be the candida, as the other question was from Mark about the candida. Candida is a very nasty one. If there is overgrowth of candida in the system, it produces a lot of silent mucus or even a postnasal drip as well. So check if that is happening. So yeah, those two things I will suggest for.
Because it doesn't happen to everybody, that's for sure, you know. I mean, it's not just because you're elderly that happens. I mean,
yeah, it's not
my
because
father's 94, and that
as an
doesn't-
elderly, your digestion sometimes does get, sorry, Dr. Ben, the digestion get compromised a bit. So make sure you have a regular bowel movement, and make sure you don't eat too heavy for your dinner, and if you're able to move a bit, so a little bit of movement in between your meals.
Okay, Don, we'll test out your system.
Thanks.
My 18-year-old son is very congested in his.
No. Thanks. Renu, just to follow up on those comments, you're obviously asking this question for somebody in your care, some relative who's possibly quite elderly. And it could be that a relative is having a difficulty swallowing. The swallowing reflex may be not effective, so that some of the food or fluids that she's taking are just going down the wrong way. So that is something that you need to check with your GP, because if that were the case, the possibility of your relative getting pneumonia arises. And that's an issue that should be, I think, checked with the GP as well.
Okay, Don, very good. Thanks for that input.
And you can hear me.
I can hear you. I'm not sure it's any better, but I can hear you. Hi, doctor.
It's better.
My 18-year-old son is very congested and has green phlegm. He has been taking Cytopalati. Do you have any other advice? So, Don, you can go ahead with that.
Well, 18-year-olds are sometimes not as cooperative, but he does seem to have quite a kapha condition here, and it is something that he should clear up. I would definitely avoid dairy. I would have a look at the kapha foods. I would use a lot of spices, garlic, basil, ginger, and
pepper.
And pepper, of course, thanks. Black pepper and the trickatu is a spice from Knoll, which is 3 spices, and you could take, 3/4 of a teaspoonful after each meal with honey. And get him sipping lemon and honey in warm water. But
What about respiratory protection? Because it's a green
Yeah.
kind of mucus. So.
yeah, lovely thought. That another herbal to take, and probably to take it on an empty stomach 4 times a day.
That's MA1793, is it? Respiratory
793,
protection, yeah.
yeah.
So MA1793K, you'll find it on the web. On the website.
Respiratory protection.
Yeah,
So I'll type in the.
It's very popular. That's if he'll take it. That's the thing. So,
Exactly.
He's 18, so
Yeah. I prefer his green coffee.
and then vitamin C and zinc. Make sure he has that as well for his immune system, because there is some kind of infection he has got.
so is cellulitis caused by inflammation in the body? So Dr. Chaitali, if you want to handle that one.
Yeah. So yes, cellulitis usually is because of inflammation in the body, but again, inflammation, according to Ayurveda, is because of toxins, or we call it as ama, excess toxins in your body, and these toxins are caused due to like excess of kapha dosha, and even accumulation of other 2 doshas also, the pitta and the vata. So cellulitis, it might be over your legs, so inflammation over the legs. So again, we need to know what is the cause of that, and is it dry or it is cracked or how it is. But yes, it is due to the inflammation, due to the clogging of all the channels in your body, and that causes inflammation. And that is the sign that you need a detoxification here.
Okay. Okay.
That would a good detoxification would be the one that Rajvinder is overseeing in the next week or 2.
Yeah. Cellulite, yeah, sometimes it is a lot of inflammation. And it, as Dr. Chaitali said, a lot to do with your food and dry brushing and all that. Yes, you can consider.
But if they could join, I mean, if Kay wanted to, she could join in your over
Yeah.
12 days of
Yes,
detox.
email
That would be
Noel,
really
yeah.
good.
I
So-
don't know if it's still open, but she can email Noel.
Well, it's just about open. I'd say I'll be closing it in the next day or 2 because it's getting very close to getting the detox packs out and everybody getting all their stuff ready. But yeah, I might be something Kay's not interested in doing, but we do have a 12-day detox, pitta detox. Pitta is inflammation as well, coming up starting on the 23rd of September. So I can send you the details on it, Kay, if you drop me an email later on, noel@ayurveda.ie. So next question.
If that's not something interest UK at the moment, you can do consultation and you'll be guided anyway what you can do at home. And then just before you take the next question, the Suzanne, I ask her age. So that's fine, Suzanne, you're okay to go ahead, yeah.
Okay.
So
if you have excess stomach acid, should you still drink hot water during the day, please? That's from Brian or Brian. Don's gone. So Raj, you're on the screen.
I'm still around. Thank you very much.
Oh, yeah. Switch your camera off, did you?
I would suggest perhaps Brian not, because the excess acid in your case might well be pitta, and with pitta, perhaps an excessive heat might not be the best idea. So, I mean, drink hot water, drink warm water frequently, but perhaps not the hot water.
Okay. Your camera's gone, Don. You know that?
I know, because I'm walking around here because I had to move out of my usual place.
All right. Okay.
Make your coriander fennel tea, let it cool down a bit and drink that.
Yeah, so coriander and fennel tea be very cooling. Yeah.
Because you might be producing acid because of ama or sluggish metabolism. So warm water will be helpful to get that digest the ama from your system.
Yeah.
But not hot here.
Okay, it's a pity we don't have Dr. Naheed here. She loves this next question. I came across the term faulty food combinations when reading an article about hay fever. Can you explain exactly what it means and give so? There's lots of faulty food combinations in Ayurveda, like milk and fruit and different things. Like there's just like fish and milk would be another.
So the main thing that people take nowadays is they put their granola with yogurt and then have a couple of berries in it. So according to Ayurveda, that's the biggest faulty food combination because that's increasing ama and increasing kapha. So dairy products should be completely separate from grains on their own. and fruit should be eaten on their own if possible. It's just all this commercial product, fruit yogurts and fruit milk or whatever. That's very big faulty combination that we are feeding it to our children as well, and that's a big cause of kappa imbalance, a lot of AMA toxins production, and that's your weaken your immune system, leading to hay fever, because hay fever is a kappa imbalance. So that's one. And Noel pointed a salt mixed with any dairy product either. So the fish and milk, I think some of the recipes call for fish and milk, and that's not a authorized combination according to Ayurveda. Honey should never be heated, and a lot of people bake with honey, so that is you're heating above 100 degree. That's another one. So like that, yes, there are other combination as well. Hot and cold food should never be mixed when we are eating. If possible, eat the hot and cold separate, and that's kind of another one. Light and heavy food should not be eaten together. If you're eating something very heavy, make sure you just stick with that one and don't combine something very, very light with it. And that's where the digestion gets confused, and the food doesn't digest very well, and it leads to fermentation in the gut area, and that's the reason for growth of microorganism, the reason for acid and all this. So there's a whole list about the faulty
Yeah, we
food.
could nearly do a separate webinar on bad food combinations, you know, maybe we should look at doing that at some stage. But anyway, milk and fruit, the ones that Rajvinder suggested there, honey, you know, those honey bars, you see them a lot nowadays. Honey heated is not a great idea, and there would be heating involved in all of those processes, you know. So, but there are lots of bad food combinations in Ayurveda. Milk, if you're drinking milk, don't drink it with your meals. Have it completely separately, you know, on its own. But don't
heard in old time in Ireland, people used to drink milk with their food.
yeah,
Yeah, that
buttermilk
was a common
particularly,
practice here.
yeah. Okay, so if suffering with heat in the body, is it wise to take apple cider vinegar, and also is yeast heating on the body? So Dr. Brennan, if you want to take that, if you're back with us.
Yeah, the most pitta increasing things are the fermented and the hot spices. And so yeast is generally a fermenting thing, so it will generate more heat, more pitta. And the cider vinegar is a fermented, so they wouldn't be wise for pitta.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Yeah. So Mina says, what is good for arthritis in the hips and knees, please? Well, Mina, I'd say go and look at our arthritis webinar, which is now available to view for free. We did a brilliant webinar on arthritis. And if you go to our website, ayurveda.ie, and under services, the menu will drop down and you can click on arthritis webinar, and you can download that webinar for free. It's actually, we're giving it for free at the moment. And the brain health webinar is also available for free. So I would say take a look at that, because there's different types of arthritis depending on, and you can tell depending on the symptoms that are there, and obviously then there's different things to do for arthritis, but certainly it's something that Ayurveda can treat, that's for sure, but I think your best place to start would be with that video. Maybe some of the other doctors have some. Donn, again, and I'll go back to you. Is there any one thing or two things that we could do to help with arthritis in the hip and knees?
Again, we're thinking of AMA, and so the purifying the diet and taking care of the digestion will be one strategy. And the second thing we're probably thinking of is Vata, because that's location of Vata, and movement is a situation of Vata, so it's painful and moving, it's stiff. So those would be the two overviews to guide your approach in terms of lifestyle: good rest, good routine, good regularity, relaxed meals, and then the digestive things. And it might be a situation where some detox would also be beneficial, but that actually is back to consultation again.
Joint seed oil will be
joint seed oil, yeah.
Yeah, joint.
Start immediately.
MA939 joint seed oil would be, in the hips, and then have a nice hot bath after it or something like that.
There's another question similar to this. The painkiller in Ayurveda for pain, arthritis, same joint seed oil is very good. And then inhalation oil, MA634 oil, combine them together, wonderful painkiller. and then the osteo relief, MA1673.
Yeah, so lots there for you. The next question, I'm going to semi-answer it, and there'll probably be a divergence of opinion on this one. It could be controversial, but I'll give my opinion on it, and then some of the other doctors can add in. I'm interested to hear the doctor's opinion on herbalism outside of Ayurveda. Firstly, I'll stop and say I don't believe there is any such thing as herbalism outside of Ayurveda. But anyway, my intuition has been speaking to me recently to move towards native plants, particularly forage wild source. What are your thoughts on using Ayurvedic wisdom on properties of plants worldwide compared to the traditional Ayurvedic herbs? My thoughts are absolutely that's what needs to happen all over the world, is that the different plants in the different countries have to be categorized in terms of Vata, Pitta, Kapha. I think Maharishi himself said that's what needed to be done, you know, but this knowledge has traditionally come from India. So traditionally it's used all these herbs that have been used in India, and that's, you know, that's in the textbooks because that's where the Vaidya's were at the time. But my own particular, you know, I would like to see that happening, that we could use, like we know the benefits of certain plants, that they affect the kidneys and hawthorn and things like this, the effect that they can have on thinning the blood and things like that. So I would be all in favor of that Poppy, of learning to do these things. But, you know, it's probably quite a big thing to get around to doing all of that. Dr. Brennan, I'd say you've probably come across this over the years.
I was distracted. I was looking ahead. So
If you gather.
That's why I asked you the question. That's why I asked you the question.
I feel like I'm at school now.
Yeah, gotcha. So just the idea of using native plants in Ayurveda, you know.
Oh yeah, I mean, like there's about 20 plants in Ireland that we will find in the Ayurvedic what would you say, pharmacopoeia, and there's a lady, a herbalist in the Midlands in the UK that's written a wonderful book about Ayurveda and herbalism. You know, she's just using the Ayurvedic approach and combining it with the traditional herbalist approach to give the Ayurvedic insights along with the traditional. And it greatly enriches the whole of herbalism, because remember, Ayurveda has these different ways of looking at herbs: the taste, the qualities, the digestive effects, the post-digestive effects, the specific action of the herb. And so, yes, it's fantastic that eventually, as Noel was saying, Maharishi wanted that the indigenous herbs would be produced in the Vedic traditional way with the appropriate chants and the appropriate, you know, timing in terms of phase of the moon or phase of the day or night for plucking. There's so much refinement in Ayurveda, which actually is very interesting because you find active principles vary, and the traditional approaches often catch the highest active principle concentration in the herb. So all this wonderful knowledge that's there in the Indian tradition could easily enrich our own traditions when Ayurveda is fully recognized, and when the chair of Ayurveda is established in our own university to absolutely empower the traditional, our own traditions.
Very good, Don.
There was Balaraj.
I read this.
Maharishi sent Balaraj around the world, and Balaraj was such an incredible source of wisdom. No matter what herb you gave him, he just closed his eyes, he felt it, he smelt it, and he started talking about the plant, the Latin name, the properties from the Western point of view, and then the properties from the Ayurveda point of view. And he could never be found lacking in any herb. He knew them all. It was just extraordinary.
He was asked, how did he know what the plant did? And he said, because the plant speaks to me, you know. But I suppose what he meant by that is he was looking at the qualities of the plant.
And he had the cognition. Yeah. He had some sensitivity.
His sensitivities were open to it, yeah. So the plants are probably speaking to everybody. It's just you're not awake to hear what they're saying, you know. But Raj, you wanted to say something?
Or just Maharishi Ayurveda's quote where he said, there is no plant that has no medicinal value. Yeah. Every plant, every food has some value.
And that's the other point I wanted to make. Ayurveda Ayurveda, knowledge of life. So it's not confined to India or Bangladesh or any country. It's knowledge of life. And that knowledge is the knowledge of whether something is good, bad, indifferent, what effects it has on it. So a plant, any plant grown in Ireland has qualities and properties and is therefore could be used within Ayurveda because it has that knowledge. All it is that this traditional system has come up. It's a traditional system, so it's come up in India, but the word itself is all encompassing. It's completely all encompassing. Ayurveda, knowledge of life. So we can apply that in all areas of life, you know. So there's a question about the best painkiller. I think we've covered that. MA634, Raju, and the joint soot oil is what we would be using there, you know, for that's Eileen's question. There's a question about genetic factors taken into consideration when treating dosha imbalances. Well, yeah, I mean, genetics plays a big important role in that. I'm not saying it's the most important role, but certainly, you know, you're born with a doshic makeup, you know, then the things that you do will put that out of balance or put it into balance. But yes, your own, like that's the nature nurture argument, you know, but it's both, it's both things, you know. So yes, you would take in genetic factors, you would be aware of genetic factors there.
Because dosha, the prakriti of the child depends on the prakriti, the dosha, the body type of the parents, environment, so the season at that time, their diet and everything. So when at the time of conception, if both the mother and father are very aware, they do proper cleansing, proper preparation, yeah, the child could be very healthy, the good genes,
Even, yeah.
The life, and then the big emphasis on epigenetic, all the
Yeah,
environmental
exactly. I was going to
factors,
say that,
which is
Rajvinder, yeah.
affecting us big time now. What is affecting us is our environment. It's having a big impact on our food as well, on our lifestyle. So yeah, that's what we need to kind of, if we can control, or from our own homes, growing your own vegetables, at least your epigenetic, your environment is a bit more healthy.
Yeah,
That has
epigenetics
an
is
impact on
what genes are switched on and off at any particular time. So, I mean, you mightn't have been born with a particular amount of anxiety or be a particularly anxious person, but your lifestyle factors or the way you live your life could cause a lot of anxiety in your life. But that anxiety is causing gene expression. And then, so that's your epigenetics, and then that can get passed on. It's affecting all of the genes in your body. So depending on the situation that you're in, but sure, we know that. We know, you know, if a mother is very unhappy or alcoholic or whatever, and then the womb is not a great environment, and then there's problems get passed on, you know. So yeah, the genetics are, you know, actually in Ayurveda, there's a whole process. If you're even considering having a child, I think it starts about a year before you even consider conception. Would that be right, Dr. Brennan? About a year before you consider conception? I hope you haven't skipped ahead there and you know what I'm talking about now.
Yes, before considering conception, the nature of the child, even not just their health, but their very nature, is going to be determined by the health of the mother to some extent. So she should actually, particularly, she should prepare for a year ahead. But remember, takes two to tango. So I mean, both should really be taking care of their health for that year.
Yeah, not only the mother.
Yeah, no, yeah, absolutely. It's 50% of the genes from each of them, you know, so the father as well, you know. In the diabetes webinar, MA471 was recommended. What is MA472 good for? I presume you mean 471.
471.
Yeah,
So,
471. Yeah, I'll just take that question. So MA471, the three main ingredients of that are, that is the bay leaf, and then it has shilajit and java plum, so which are really good to control the sugar. Again, it is helpful for liver metabolism as well, and even for muscle. So in diabetes, it is most of kapha dosha which is involved, and the pitta and the vata dosha as well. So there are few other herbs which keeps the sugar under control. Your even the intestinal gut flora is taken care of, your digestion is taken care of, and it has other herbs like bitter gourd which will help to normalize your sugar, and few other herbs which will even take care of the liver like bhumi amlaki, and few other herbs which will help for metabolism of liver, and then the digestion as well. So these all herbs, the combination of herbs, help to reduce the glucose level.
Very good. So we've lots of questions coming in from Siobhan O'Malley. What causes underactive thyroid and what should I do to balance this? Again, we've a whole webinar on the thyroid. It's on our website. We did a whole webinar on it. But Rajvinder, if you want to take that.
Yes, underactive thyroid is a sluggish metabolism. So it could be any kapha. If it's the weight is you're putting on weight and energy levels, you feel dull and lethargic. So your symptoms will tell. Vata, if you're feeling very, very exhausted, losing a lot of hair. And Pitta is mostly Hashimoto, more towards the autoimmune. So that's how the doshas are involved. So the first thing is stimulating your metabolism. So one wonderful little trick, as we already discussed about Trikatu. Trikatu is the 3 spices, which is ginger, pepper, and black pepper. So what is Trikatu? These are pungent spices. Anything that is pungent that stimulate the digestive fire. So if kapha is involved, we want to remove the heaviness of kapha and we want to ignite the digestive fire. So we'll be considering all these pungent spices and the herbs that could be beneficial. So need to know more what's going on, but you can start with this Trikatu, or if you want to make it at home, you take ginger, add some honey, black pepper, lemon. So that is the fresh version of Trikatu at home. This is called ginger relish. We have spoken many times about the ginger relish. It's even the free course ginger relish is discussed. So that's something one to stimulate your metabolism. Second, the movement is very important, that you start moving and try not to have a very heavy dinner and start drinking hot water, warm water. So that's simple strategy I can say you can start drinking for your underactive thyroid.
And I would say do the webinar as well. Take a look at the webinar.
Yeah, there's a lot. Dr. Brennan has discussed a lot of herbs there, which offer all the 3 dosha involvement.
Next question I love, and again, controversial. Any advice for high cholesterol? Yes, I'd be encouraging it. The higher your cholesterol, the longer you'll live. So you can take a book called The Great Cholesterol Con and just have a read of that. As far as I'm concerned, statins are the biggest medical fraud that exists out there. Well, there's so many medical frauds out there, but statins come very high on the list, you know. So anyway, my advice to you is read the book, The Great Cholesterol Con. The doctors may have very different opinions on that. So if there's anybody who wants to say anything else on that.
Yeah, that's Noel's opinion. He's entitled to his opinion.
Everybody has an opinion.
Yeah.
We'd be saying to be careful and also listen to your doctors. But it is worth noting that you can bring down cholesterol in very natural ways. And I have seen people's cholesterol above 7 come down to 4, between 4 and 5, just with simple change of diet. Your first thing to know is that cholesterol is actually used by all the cells of the body and used to create your hormones. It's very important. It's so important that actually your liver.
You're gone there, Don.
There has been quite a lot of confusion around the issue, and there's a lot of renewed thinking that the sugar industry got in early and blamed fats for heart disease. Whereas it's now known that the worst possible fat is made in your body from sugar. That's the one that's most damaging. It creates the free radicals that damages the lining of the blood vessels, and it actually gets lodged then as part of that plaque. So I would be saying avoid added sugar, avoid convenience sugar-laden foods. You could think of a specific fiber in your diet, and this fiber in your diet is excellent because sweet potatoes, pulses, apples, they have a fiber which holds the cholesterol in the gut. It out. Your liver is constantly excreting in the bile the fat toxins it wants to get rid of. But without the right fiber in your diet, you reabsorb the wrong fats. So the fiber in the diet, the use of spices, especially the garlic family, and turmeric and fenugreek are quite specific. Taking the good fats in your diet, the omega-3s, omega-6s that you'll find in nuts and in seeds like the pumpkin, the sesame, the sunflower, the flax seeds. So these are all dietary strategies. It probably tends towards a kapha imbalance, and therefore it may be that the kapha foods are better, but you have to look in the whole and not just at an issue like cholesterol. But if the worst comes to the worst, and you have a very high cholesterol, and there are other indications that put you at risk for heart disease and stroke, I would be considering red rice yeast, because it's as good as one of the lesser cholesterol lowering drugs, but it's natural and has about 1/20 the side effect profile.
Yeah, red rice yeast if you really want to take your cholesterol down. But as Dr. Brennan says, cholesterol is used everywhere. The synapses in your brain, cholesterol is used there. And anyway, it's a very sensitive subject and people have very strong opinions on it. But I think that book, The Great Cholesterol Con, it's like by a Scottish doctor, Malcolm McKittrick, I think his name is, definitely worth a read, you know. This next question, Don, is actually addressed directly to you, so we'll send it to you. It says, high antibodies, TPO, and Hashimoto thyroiditis. What advice do you have for diet, herbal medicine, and yoga to manage the condition or reverse it? Antibodies TPO level is above 785. Well, maybe too much to cover in a thing like this, but anyway.
Yeah, well, the first thing is a detox. A panchakarma type treatment would be certainly indicated. Your immune system has got confused because of or toxins interfering with it. And if you started with a good detox, and then, Rajvinder has already suggested that the pitta could well be involved. And that's another thing that would be worth an assessment of to check out. And according to your dosha, then the diet and the herbs, there's an MA3697, which is MA3697 is quite specific for thyroid in general. I'd also be thinking of Tinospora cordifolia, which is a specific herb for, that would help the immune aspect. Yoga, so long as you're fit and well, things like the shoulder stand, and I'm sure Rajvinder and Chaitrali might have other suggestions as to yoga and the other suggestions as well. But there is that thyroid, there is a seminar on thyroid available.
Yes. Your webinar is very good on, you have actually discussed these issues. But it's pitta, look into pitta in the balance,
Okay, so Poppy says, my fingernails are very thin and weak. They curve down around my fingertip. Any suggestions on what my body is telling me here? Well, your fingers. Sorry?
Mostly
Vata.
Yeah.
Vata imbalance. And again, there might be ingrowth of those nails. So again, keep cutting your nails. Don't grow them long. And again, you can use neem oil if you want, like every day, so that it will help to soothe the sides of your nail.
I suggest healthy hair and nail tablets because you're saying nails are very thin. So it sounds like your bones are quite weak. So definitely self-massage and healthy hair and nail tablets.
Yeah, the nails are an asti, and they're an upadata, aren't they? An upa.
They are upadhatu.
Yeah.
So
MA953, I think it is the healthy hair and nails. But
also consider vitamin supplement, especially from now on, because vitamin D is very important for bones.
Vitamin C.
50 plus might be a good one. It has vitamin C in it as well, So Siobhan Carroll says, thanks for all the advice. Thank you, Siobhan, for coming along. Question there, any idea when you'll have the pitta churna in stock? We haven't been able to get pitta churna for a long time. I have the vata and kapha back in stock. I have a shipment of pitta churna due from India, but I don't think it's even left India at this stage. So I would hope I'd have it back in stock maybe in about 6 weeks time, but there's I can't get any of it anywhere in Europe. It's obviously a big selling product for us, but it's just not available anywhere at the moment. So Yeah, well, you could make up a mixture yourself of cooling spices, I suppose, in the meantime, you know. So one for you, Raj, you're the food expert. What is your view on using air fryers for food preparation?
Okay.
Ata.
Well, first of all, you're cooking the junk food in the air fryer, so why do you need the air fryer? Yeah, the benefit, the plus point, it is like you reduce the amount of oil, and you kind of, that way you cut down on the calories, and you are reducing the harmful effect of frying the food. But traditionally, the Ayurveda is more cooking into the slow heat and cooking with the healthy oils like mustard oil or sesame oil or that kind of organic cold pressed sunflower oil. So if you're frying, let's say you're frying potato chips or those fries, it's better. I personally wouldn't go for air fryer. I still go for oil, because Ayurveda is more of a kind of, I think air fryer is 350 to 400 degree temperature that you're cooking. So that's a very high temperature. So well, if it's junk food, there won't be any nutrition left, either air frying or oil frying. So it there's no point of debating on that anyway. But I think you reduce the oil if that kind of cut down on the heart issues, and there is certain kind of chemicals, amylides, I think you reduce that when you're air frying. So yes, there is a bit more plus point when you're using the air fryer, if you have to use the air fryer. Yeah, so yeah.
And again, yeah, sorry to interrupt. Yeah.
Yeah, sure, go ahead.
Yeah, again, those air fryers are like non-stick. So
Yeah,
that stick is again carcinogenic for your health. So it's better to avoid air fryer and go for a stir fry or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Teflon coating, you have to be careful.
Yeah.
So
stainless steel or cast iron.
Yes. But we are human. We want some comfort food. So I don't know. I personally prefer oven, or just a little bit of a shallow frying, or fry on the low heat. So I don't like air fryers.
Okay, but everyone has to make up
But
their own mind.
everybody, that's very personal choice. Plus, there are plus points, as I said. You reduce the intake of oil, and you reduce the cooking time if that's the problem, and you reduce certain oxidants as well getting into the food.
You don't want to completely reduce the intake of oil. System oil is essential, you know,
So
absolutely essential, you know.
Yeah, so good quality oils are better. If you
So a long question here, I mightn't read it all, but basically, how do you get rid of AMA tummy fat? So I presume you just mean tummy fat. I take trifla at night, just started taking Googaloo again at night. I'm going to add a yoga session before TM in the evening. I do my asanas before TM in the morning. I was going to start sipping the cumin, coriander, and fennel tea every half hour again daily and follow the primary Vedic diet. Go ahead, Don.
Yeah, and she says she's Pitta-vata, and she's doing so much that is good, which is great, and well done, Aisling. But it would suggest that you're a little bit out of touch, because if you're gathering fat, you're eating more than your body wants, which means you're not in tune with what your body is advising. You're listening to your head a little bit. And so, I mean, it is a strategy to become more sensitive to your level of satiation, 3/4 full at the end of a meal, and not full, and not eating at times when you're not hungry. The other thing is some detox would probably be helpful to help your body to metabolize and burn off that that body fat, that tummy fat. And again, the trickatu may be a good spice after the meals with honey.
What she can do, Dr. Brennan, she's taking trifla already. She crushed the trifla and add trickatu and add honey.
Yeah,
that will just do the trick for you. You're already taking trifla, and Dr. Brennan's suggestion, crush the tablets, put trickatu in it, and add it with honey, because sometimes trifla stop working for you, so you need to add a little bit of a digestive enzyme or a tool agent into it, which is your honey. Because I know, Aisling, you are following Ayurveda. You are with us from a long time, and I think you were following the other Vaija. So that could be it. You just need to and you said you start taking Googaloo. Googaloo is wonderful for cutting down the fat as well. So just be a bit more patient.
And one more suggestion, like she has mentioned pitta, she has craving of organic dark chocolate, and which is consumed after lunch. So instead of
Yeah.
taking sweet after lunch, it's always better to start with the sweet and then have your lunch, because sweet is one of the thing which digests. It takes times to digest. And again, that is one of the factor which might cause more of toxins in your body, ama, and it will diminish or sluggish your digestion.
Yeah, I was given that advice about taking your dessert before your lunch. So I used to take my dessert before my lunch, have my lunch, and then have another dessert because that doesn't work either, you know. So I just went back to doing it the way I'd always done it. But anyway, the other thing is that, you know, if you're taking too much in and you're not burning it off, it accumulates. That's, you know, the digestive things, the trichotillomania, all that, they can help stimulate the digestion, but and do all of that. But like if it's a case that you're taking in far more calories than you're burning, then you know the body will just store them, and that's where it can store them there in the tummy thing, you know. Anyway, lots of suggestions for you there. Having a cappuccino after a meal is a
lot
bad
of noise coming from Valerie. Maybe you need to mute her.
Sorry?
I think she's noise coming from Valerie. I think she's washing her dishes. She's on
Oh,
mute.
from Valerie. Okay, let me just see. Can I? Yeah, I'll mute that. Okay. So a cappuccino. Actually, I'll just if I mute everybody, I'll mute the doctors as well. But anyway, it's not that bad at the
I think
moment.
it's fine. It's stopped now.
Yeah, having cappuccino after a meal is bad combination. Having a cappuccino after a meal is you know, we don't drink anything directly after a meal because it's going to definitely interfere with the digestion. So I would say my advice, and see what the doctors say, would be leave it an hour after a meal before you have a cappuccino or a tea or something like that, you know. And if you have a cappuccino in the morning time at 11 o'clock, it's definitely going to kill your digestion for 12:30 when your main meal is, you know. So either have it early in the morning or maybe 4 o'clock in the afternoon or something like that as a kind of a pick me up. But anyway, the doctors have any suggestions about cappuccinos?
Well, after food, no. Okay, Dr. Brennan, go ahead.
Well, Mary Lou is a wonderful, compassionate, gentle, kind, soft cafe person, and so she gets away with the coffee. It's not something we would be recommending for everybody, but because of the milk as well, not being compatible with foods, it's really not taken with any other foods. So somebody asked about milk with porridge. So long as there's no salt in the porridge, milk can be taken with something sweet. So that wouldn't be any crime against your nature. You could go for it. But the cappuccino, yeah, I take it away from food, as Noel is saying, and enjoy it. Okay.
How to deal with a duodenal ulcer? Proton inhibitors, no help.
Okay,
that needs a consultation.
Yeah.
We can't like just stop on that, because duodenal ulcer is not a small thing. I mean, we need to get to know the doshas involved here.
Yeah, I would say I would agree with that as well. I mean, there's only so many things we can cover in a little Q&A like this, but the duodenal ulcer is a painful thing, and really you need to address that in a very strong way, you know. So my advice anyway is to organize a consultation with one of the doctors and get on a complete plan to help reverse that, you know. Can we eat fruit at the end of a meal so not together with the vegetables, Andre? Chaitali is shaking her head.
No.
Okay.
So fruits again, it has like sour taste and sweet taste. So these tests, there are like a few steps how you have to follow your test, your diet, and sweet and sour should not be taken at the end of your meal. So it should be taken at least before. And again, fruits, they even sluggish your digestion. So fruit should not be taken along with your meal or after the meal. They should be taken separate.
Yeah, Anna Carey actually answers it then down a little further, and I think that's, yeah, I think she explains it very well. So that's she's basically saying what you said, Dr. Chaitali, as well, you know. I've always had very low iron, vegetarian most of my life, vegan last seven years. Will the detox lower my iron even more, and what would be your advice to up my iron levels? I try to eat much green leaf vegetables and pulses, but doesn't seem to help. MA4332 might be a suggestion, but anyway, Rajvinder, I'll leave that one to you.
What is 4332?
Well, it's 332, herbal iron rich.
332.
332.
Okay.
Yeah, oh, there's a
That's-
4 in front of it now. There's a 4 in front of it
It
now.
was
which means-
600, wasn't it? MA
Yes,
600.
Oh yeah, no, you're right. Sorry, yeah, I beg your
Yeah.
pardon. You're right. Yeah,
Yeah,
MA 600.
okay.
Yeah.
And well, you said that MA 3323 will be very good for her. A lot of golden raisins they are helpful. What you can do, you soak a couple of golden raisins, the normal raisins, into the water and overnight. Drink that water every morning and put those raisins into your food. That's one way, because they work as a prebiotic. So that will be something, your gut bacteria, that you're not able to absorb the iron. So you need to kind of look into your microorganism in the gut. Start doing oil pulling, because that will kind of help to give you good flora, gut, the bacteria flora in your mouth. And through that, you can again reboot your gut microorganism. A probiotic might be helpful. Yes, you might feel a little bit weak during the detox. So I say you start the herbal iron rich or continue your iron supplement, but take it away from when you're taking the ghee, because the dairy kind of interfere with the absorption of iron. And then after that, as a rosina, you start the herbal iron rich with your normal iron preparation, that supplement that you take. And herbal iron rich is MA 600, and we already have mentioned MA 332 for rosina. So I definitely recommend that you take MA 3323 as well, and
That's
take
fine.
for 6 months.
Okay.
And that is a nice thought, because vitamin C will help the absorption of iron.
Yes,
with
yes,
the dairy
and
and that.
definitely.
Yeah.
And it has
And-
other herbs as well. Yeah.
Another nice recipe are soaked dates in orange juice with almond.
Yes, very good. Yes, so Suzanne, soak dates, orange juice with almonds. So vitamin C is also important, because vitamin C enhances the absorption of iron from the food. So pay attention when you're cooking your vegetable, add lemon juice, or you make little, like a carrots, beetroot, spinach kind of little shot with lemon in it or orange in it. So that way you can help to increase your iron levels.
Don, would you do me a favor, Don? You see the message from Sarah Wheeler?
Yeah.
Will you read that, and I'll come back to you in a minute.
Okay.
And I'll come back to you, okay? If
Yeah.
you have a read down through that. And the next question is, any herb for hip bone spur, please? Rajvinder or Chaitali?
Hip bone spur, when the bones are giving that kind of growth, that's acid in your system. That's acidic environment, which is related to pitta vata, because pitta is hot and pitta is sharp and pitta is acidic. So these are the qualities of pitta. So that extra pitta in the form of acid in your system is causing that extra growth. And that is also related to dryness of vata. So make sure you have healthy fats in your diet, so that you can stop that kind of growth happening in your bones, and start taking herbal acid balance, MA 575 or MA 320 gastro support, either one of these, to alkaline your system, and MA 1673 osteo relief, that also be good to stop that acidic environment from your liver, from your blood, and it helps with the pain, any kind of pain generated. An external application of MA 634 oil. And other wonderful thing that you can do is dip a little cloth into apple cider. If you can apply as a bandage, like a cold pack, castor oil, and alternate it with apple cider, because apple cider actually help to reduce any of that type of growths. So yeah, that's what I
Okay,
can.
lots and lots of advice there. So thanks very much, Dr.
Wow,
Rajvinder.
wow.
Don, would you be?
Yeah, this lady is doing everything to balance her vata. She's vata pitta in nature, and her skin is always dry, but it's become much more so in the last 6 months. She's doing sesame oil massages, and that'll be my first port of call, because my experience is that for some few people, they react to sesame oil with inflammation in their skin. It was explained to me by Navaja in India that some amas in the skin, and the sesame oil is provoking it. And so I would stop the sesame oil, see if the skin settles, and then start with a different oil. It might be olive oil is very soothing for the skin. If there's a lot of heat and inflammation, coconut oil. But stop the sesame for a while, see how that goes, and then substitute almond oil would be another good oil for massage. Maybe the radiant skin might help to clear any ama in the skin area and bring a balance there. And
MA926.
926, yeah.
Okay.
What about Allergard, because she's having hives and that means
Yeah.
a lot of allergic reaction. So it seems like her histamine levels are quite high, and
Well,
she's underactive thyroid as well.
Yeah, interesting.
Hives are very classical.
First thing is stop the sesame oil and see if that's sort of the problem. And then, if not, then that's a great idea.
Like I would be saying she should apply shea butter because very soothing and very kind of cooling as well. Yeah,
So that's an option instead of the sesame oil.
No sesame oil. Yeah, Dr. Brennan's right. The seed oil.
No, definitely do what Dr. Brennan said there, because it could be that you're having that reaction, a very rare reaction to the sesame oil. But the only way to find out is to stop the sesame oil. Even if you do nothing, stop the sesame oil. If you want to try something else, olive oil or shea butter
and yeah, again, it is like ama condition. So there are a lot of toxins in the body. So it's better to do the detoxification. So that will also help.
Yeah. So the Yoga of Herbs, the book by David Frawley, I know the book very well, is doing that for some Western herbs. Yeah, David Frawley, very well respected author. So that's obviously back to our earlier thing about Western herbs. Sonia asks, what is the name of the book, Dr. Brennan? Much thanks. I can't remember what that refers to.
It refers to a question back on the indigenous herbs.
All right, okay.
And Annie McIntyre is the author of 2 books, one for children and one in general on Ayurveda herbs. So I'm sure if you look up on Amazon, Annie McIntyre, you'll find her books.
Okay, so the next question. After a brain vascular stroke, the fluidity of blood is checked monthly. Why would the blood not flow properly? I presume that is in the syringe. I presume that is when taken by a nurse, even though the results of fluidity of blood is good. So in other words, I think the question is that the blood fluidity is good, yet the nurse has difficulty taking the bloods, is my reading of that.
So if it's a situation of fluidity of the blood and you're having monthly checks, you might still be on warfarin, a blood thinner. That's the one blood thinner that still requires the monthly checks. And I think the nurse is having difficulty drawing blood quickly, because if blood sits too long, it'll tend to clot anyway. So that's why it's put immediately from a syringe into a bottle to keep it right for the laboratory. I think it might be you may have difficult veins to take the blood from, and it's not coming quickly enough or something.
Okay, Charlotte Young says, my 10-year-old daughter is starting to get some pimples. Is this a sign of puberty beginning, and what can I do to help her?
Yeah.
Raj?
A 10-year-old. Yes, nowadays little ones are getting young very soon. Yeah, it could be that the heat is building up in her system. Could be the change. Make sure she's not eating too much of junk food, like too many pizza and bread, because the young people love that. So I don't think you need to do anything for the pimples yet. Just a good face wash, to make the skin a little bit more alkaline. Rose water spray, get her a rose water spray, and then ask her to spray on the face and cleanse it a couple of times. That should do. And just check the diet, make sure she's drinking enough water, because it's very difficult for them to encourage to drink a lot of water as well. And the screen time, so might be a little too much on the phone playing games, because a lot of radiation from the screen can cause skin problems. So it could be, yeah, she's 10, could be.
That's an
And
interesting one about the radiation from the skin, from the phone. That's because
Yeah.
a lot of kids are spending an awful lot of time on phones nowadays, you know.
yeah, they're not going out. Ask her
Yeah.
to go out in the fresh air for a
But
walk.
it's probably not a huge issue at the moment. And as
Yeah.
Dr. Rajvinder says, just not too much junk food. And,
Yeah.
you know, Dr. Brennan, did you want to come in there?
Well, I was interested in Dr. Raj's face rinse, what she would use.
Yeah, face ranges.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, and even if you like use green gram flour plus yogurt and use it as a face wash in the morning time and at the night, just as a face wash. So it will cleanse the pores and it will reduce the oiliness or excess sebum which is secreted.
Okay. Can you advise female hair thinning and loss, please?
What
Probably
age
help.
group might be menopausal then?
I think one question is if there's been a lot of stress in your life for the last 2 years, 3 years, and sometimes that results in ladies having loss of hair. And MA1 is a very good product to take at that stage, amla berry. The other aspect of this can be just with age, vata increases, and with vata, the bones and the byproduct of bones, hair, affected. So again, it may be that the vata diet and regime is appropriate. And the healthy hair and nails, again, often I find ladies come in, I give the healthy hair and nails for their nails, and they come back and tell me how their hair has blossomed. But it takes 2 or 3 months.
That's
Yeah,
MA953.
Take the herbs for a few months. Yeah.
Yeah. And the next is a pitta related thing as well. I feel the cold a lot in the autumn and winter. Or sorry, a vata related thing. Digestion is sluggish. I'm doing the detox on the 23rd and I have to walk a lot to stay warm. I have dampness in the system also. Each winter as I age, I feel the cold more. So feeling the cold is a vata thing, and all of those things you've mentioned there are vata things. And as we age, we go into the vata stage of life as well. And really, if we haven't been looking after ourselves in the younger stage of life, then that vata is just accumulating and accumulating. And the way to deal with vata is to really love yourself a lot, really, is the way you got to look after yourself to balance vata. And that means lots of time off and lots of hot baths and lots of nice nourishing foods and like avoiding stress if you can. And all of those things will help bring your vata in balance. And certainly sesame oil massage should help your body to stay warm as well. Doing an oil massage. But when you're doing an oil massage in the winter time, like don't go into a cold bathroom and then, you know, strip off and start rubbing sesame oil on you. Heat the bathroom up, make sure the bathroom's nice and warm, and make sure the oil is nice and warm. So it's all very nourishing, lovely and nourishing, and then leave it on and then have a nice hot bath or something like that to thing. I think you haven't really asked the question there, Patricia. You're just making some statements, but it is vata related, you know.
Can I add to that, Noel, that
Indeed.
kapha is also cold and that digestion here is sluggish, which could also be a kapha influence, and
Patricia
dampness.
is unusually cold.
Is that so?
Very, very difficult. I don't know what's
Well, the only thing I could suggest is that the core, the central fire is the agni is in the jatar agni in the stomach area, and the use of lots of hot spices could be a little heat generator. So that would be something to add in.
I think it's the Udana, Vyana Vayu subdosha. That's the imbalance there. And maybe the pomegranate is considered very good for Vyana. So Patricia, maybe we haven't talked about that. Start drinking pomegranate tea and see, or eating pomegranate fruit. See if that helps, because that's a Vyana. That's one of the subtype of Vata, which is yeah. Even in the summer, she has to wear fleecy little jumper. So
well, my wife tells me that the warmest possible textile is washed wool. So let her look up washed wool and boiled wool.
No, she's nodding her head.
No.
No, it doesn't work.
Okay, you said pomegranate tea.
It makes her itchy.
Oh Lord, pomegranate tea. Tell us
pomegranate
about it.
tea for
How does she do that?
Vienna. Yes, yeah. You just like you take the peel of pomegranate, the skin, and boil into water and let it cool down and drink it. So that's kind of work on the Vienna, that vascular circulation, that the circulation is not proper through your channels, to your nervous system, sorry, the circulatory system. So we need to pump that. That's something wrong. And then hanging your legs against the wall, against the gravity. It's all working on the circulation.
Okay, we're coming very close to the end. I want every doctor now to mention one spice. I'll go first, and then we'll have 4 spices for this. If we want to make pitta churn at home, please advise components and amounts. So I would say fennel.
Yeah, coriander.
That was my one.
Okay.
You let them know
Okay,
another
okay.
one.
Okay, then
Cardamom.
cardamom. Okay, fine.
And Raj, you're last.
Yeah, so even turmeric, you can add turmeric and rock salt into that, and it has cinnamon as well. Cinnamon, yeah.
Lovely.
Just do them in equal amounts.
It's for pitta churn, is it?
Yeah.
Pitta churn.
So fennel, coriander,
turmeric,
Cumin.
rock salt.
just a
Cumin.
pinch of rock salt, yeah. Cumin, small amount of cumin, yeah. The
Okay.
one we had, it has a shakra, which is little candy sugar as well.
Candy sugar.
Yeah, because the sweet taste.
So George Hollis loves essential oils. Also, the other thing is we're going into the Vata season now, so your pitta might come down naturally anyway. I mean, you can feel the seasons changing at the moment. So George Hollis loves essential oils. What would be beneficial ones going into inhale this time of the year? So you think about the
Lavender.
seasonal change. We're going from pitta into a Vata stage of thing, but we're still kind of in a pitta, so pitta would still be high. But
Lavender would be good for both.
lavender, okay. Mark says thanks to everyone, much appreciated. Have to leave now. Very happy birthday to Rajvinder tomorrow. Hooray!
Oh yeah.
For dry irritated eyes, we've done that loads of times. So ghee on the eyes is a good thing, or an eye wash. But you can use Rajvinder if you want to give the.
Oh, just use the ghee. Make sure it is sterilized, it's clean. Your hands are clean, and you just kind of rub. Just do a little massage. There's a treatment, Nature-Terpena, where you can use the eye wash glass, easily available at the pharmacy, and melt the ghee in a sterilized little other container. Make sure the temperature is soothing, not hot, and you put the eye wash glass and let the ghee pour into it. Open and close your eye on it. After that, your nose will be dripping. That's okay, because it's opening up the channels and lubricating the whole sinus area. Nasal drops, putting oil into your nostrils, is the other way to lubricate your sinus and all these cavities, where the dryness is. Eye exercises, the gauging on a candle flame or a particular dot on the wall, you can put and gauge at it. So these 3 things you can do for your eyes.
Okay, everybody. So I'm going to call it to an end here. I want to say a big thank you to the doctors for coming on. We covered a huge amount of ground tonight. We always cover a huge amount of ground in these Q&As. I'll put this up on our YouTube channel. I'll send you the link to it. You can share it with your friends. We had over 100 people on, which is not too bad. We hopefully can build up our numbers. We're doing a lot of advertising at the moment to try get the word out about Ayurveda. So we have a lot of Facebook ads running at the moment. So hopefully we'll have a lot of new people joining us. We will run another Q&A very soon. Maybe we might do 2 a month. And so definitely, when I send you the link, you're free to share it with your family and friends. It's not a good idea to put it on social media, because then there's all sorts of security issues, and we haven't had any issues like that so far. But definitely share it with your family and friends, and they can come on even if they don't have health issues. It's very entertaining. I think it's absolutely fantastic to see the broad range of Ayurveda. Like there's no human condition that it can't help with, you know. So and it just gives people a totally different perspective on looking after their health and a different way of looking at things, you know. I want to say a big happy birthday to Dr. Rajvinder tomorrow. I'll be seeing her tomorrow anyway. And yeah, that's it. So thanks a million, everybody, for coming on.
Unmute everybody, and we can sing happy birthday.
Okay, we can do that.
Yes.
Oh.
I think I don't know that I can actually ask all to unmute, so everybody should be able to unmute.
Okay. Happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
Thank you.
All
Thank
right.
you. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you.
So have everybody muted again now. That's everybody muted again.
Happy
Okay, Raj.
birthday.
Not sure where
Thank
Don is
you.
at. If
Thank
any of the
you.
doctors have anything they want to say, they can go ahead. But I think we're probably we're all
Long
done.
life, good health, and absolute fulfillment to Rajvinder. That's all.
Thank you, Dr. Ryan. Thank you. Thank you. It
Happy
means a lot.
birthday.
Happy
Thank
birthday
you.
in advance, Dr. Raj. I'll
Thank
call
you.
you
Thank you.
tomorrow.
Yeah,
Thank you.
I'll be up tomorrow for my present. Bye, everybody.
Okay, bye. Good
Thank you
evening,
very much for
everyone.
coming on. We'll talk to you
Wonderful.
soon. We'll be in touch.
Bye.
Lots of stuff coming on. So keep an eye out for the newsletters. Take
Bye-bye.
care. Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Thank you. Bye.